Chapter 40. Merla landed right in front of Neshoba. "Wake up," she screamed. Neshoba opened his eyes. "Did you bring more of your awful food?" "A human is coming this way," she cried. "Here?" said a startled Neshoba. Merla bobbed her head rapidly. "This direction." A jolt of panic swept through the wolf. Is he coming after me?" "I have no idea, but he's coming." Neshoba turned his head first one way and then another, but saw no sign of any human. Only when he sniffed did human scent reach him. "I smell him," he whispered. Fearful, he looked at Merla. "Is he trying to kill me?" "He has something in his hands," answered the bird. "I'm not sure what it is, but I've seen it before. I'm pretty sure it can kill." Bird and wolf stared at each other. Neshoba said, "I have one more kill in me." "You do not," cried Merla. "You can't even move." Neshoba made no answer. Instead, he fought to gain some sense of his whole body, what would work, what would not. He pushed down with his rear legs. His rump came up. Knowing he had no choice but to endure the pain, he pushed down with his front paws, stressing the left side. He stood. Merla hopped back, bobbing her head with encouragement. Though he was standing, Neshoba felt miserable. When the forest seemed to spin around him and his body swayed, he closed his eyes. "Don't fall, don't fall, don't fall." He opened his eyes again. To his enormous relief, he was still upright. "Good," said Merla. "Stay still. Gather yourself. Gather your strength." Neshoba struggled to find enough energy. Merla asked, "Feel better? Stronger?" "A little." "Now," said the raven, "try walking. Even a small step will be good. Lead with your left leg. Easy on the right." The best Neshoba could do was hop his left leg forward a few inches. Trembling from nose to tail, he wobbled. "Any movement is better than none," Merla cried. The wolf looked at the matted snow where he had been lying. There was blood, urine, and scat. He felt revulsion at himself. Clenching his teeth, he took another left leg hop toward Merla, who had jumped out of the way, and hauled the rest of himself along in the same direction. The effort worked. A bit. Moreover, the movement gave him some confidence. "I can walk," he said, proud of his small achievement, but embarrassed that he should feel so. "A little," returned the bird. "Where should I go?" Even as Neshoba asked the question, he realized he was leaving all decisions to the raven. "Anywhere, as long as it's away from that human," she replied. "I don't know how far I can manage." "Doesn't matter," shrieked Merla. "Wherever you get will be better than here." Neshoba took another hop and stepped forward. "Fine, good," the raven cried. "Keep it up. I'll go back and try to distract that human." "Don't put yourself in danger." "I'm small." Neshoba grunted. There's an old wolf expression. The smaller you are, the bigger you are. Merla opened her beak and stuck out her tongue. "Glad you listened." She flew off. Neshoba watched her swoop among the trees until she was lost to view. A good friend, he told himself. He turned and took another step. How far, he wondered, will I need to go to be safe? How far could he go? He glanced upward. 7 ravens were perched on the trees looking down at him. They're still waiting for me to die, Neshoba thought. Chapter 41. Casey stood among the trees searching for the bird. If he could shoot it, he would feel a lot less dumb about the arrow he had lost. Standing there, determined not to mess up the second time, he again made himself try to review all 9 points of bow shooting in the archery book. "Caw! Caw!" Casey spun about and spotted the raven high in a tree, not where he had expected. It really was just like the video game. He took his stand, knocked an arrow, set his grip. The next moment the bird flew off, but not so far as to be out of sight. "I thought it was smart," Casey murmured. "Birds in the game are smarter." Relaxing his grip, he scooped up his arrows, then he moved toward the bird, determined to get a shot. Chapter 42. Neshoba took 14 more hop steps. The effort exhausted him. His whole body quivered. The agony was great. Worst of all, he was aware that he had gone only a small way. "I can't go anymore," he told himself, and slumped to the ground. Breathless, he lay in the melting snow. Not knowing what else to do, he reached out and licked his wounded paw. Hearing a soft pit-pat, pit-pat, he looked around. It had begun to rain, the drops barely reaching him through the trees. From a distance, thunder rumbled. When he looked up, he saw that the watching ravens had flown away. Is that a good sign or a bad one? From a distance, he heard, "Caw!" Where, he wondered, is Merla? He had managed to lead the human away? When she came back, he must tell her how grateful he was. Chapter 43. Twice Casey had come into what he thought would be good shooting range. Both times, at the last moment, the bird had flown in an unexpected direction. Maybe she's not so dumb, he told himself, enjoying the hunt, ignoring the steady light rain. From far off there was a flash of lightning. 7 seconds later, soft thunder came. Following the raven's changeable flight path, Casey moved deeper into the forest. Every now and then he paused to check his surroundings. He knew the woods well enough to know where he was. When the bird eluded him yet again, Casey began to wonder if perhaps the bird was trying to lead him away from something. Probably, he decided, a nest of young ravens. He had a vague memory that they hatched around this time of year. The bird he was following could be their mother. He would like to see that nest. Caw! The raven reappeared in a different spot. Dropping all but one arrow, Casey knocked that one on his bowstring, knowing that the raven would fly off when he did. She did, just as he predicted. Casey thought hard. The bird had gone first in this direction, then that, then that. Now she had headed another way. In his mind, Casey connected all the lines of flight like a diagram. Where, he asked himself, is the center of all those lines? Slipping the leftover arrows into his back pocket like a quiver, Casey remembered a clearing about a quarter of a mile deeper into the woods. He decided that that would be a likely place to find the raven's nest. If he was right and he went toward it, and even if the raven was defending a nest, he'd find her there. He could get her then. Chapter 44. Why are you just lying there? Merla screeched into Neshoba's face. The human is coming. He's a lot closer than before. I can't move anymore. You have to, cried the raven, pecking the wolf's nose. You must. Neshoba struggled to gather whatever strength he had left. Pushing himself up on his paws, he took one hop step forward, only to tumble over. From a distance came a burst of light and then growling thunder. Caw! Screamed Merla and leaped into the air. Chapter 45. Casey saw the raven rise. This time he was ready. He took his position and aimed, took all the proper steps, and released the arrow. The bowstring hummed, the white arrow flew, the bird dropped. Casey's reaction was astonishment. Had he truly, actually hit the bird? His heart lurched with alarm. For just a second he expected an automated voice to proclaim, "Great shot!" But there were only two sounds Casey heard, the gentle tip-tapping of rain and his own pounding heart. Casey searched the trees, waiting for the bird to reappear. It did not. Dismay swept through him. Had he really killed the raven? He never expected to. It wasn't possible. The idea of it frightened him. It was just a freak shot, he told himself. He had not really aimed, had not really intended to kill her. He must have missed. Must have, he hoped. Casey moved forward slowly, searching the ground. Maybe the bird was just fooling. She might be faking it, or was just wounded. He kept looking, but saw nothing of the bird. He kept going, and then he stopped. He saw her. The raven lay on the ground on her back, big black wings extended as if in upside-down flight. Her legs were sticking up, talons in a tight curl. "Oh my God," Casey whispered. "She's dead." Horrified, he felt his eyes well with tears. He wiped them away and then looked for his arrow, but did not see it. He remembered what his book had said, that an arrow could pierce a jug of sand. This was just a bird. It must have gone right through her. He felt sick. He looked around, fearful that someone might have seen what he had done. It was then that he saw what appeared to be large dog footprints. There were also bloodstains. Casey's fright increased. Was the blood from the bird or something else? He had shot 2 arrows. Had he killed 2 creatures? He raised his eyes. In the trees above him, 7 ravens were staring down at him. Alarmed, fearful what the birds might do, Casey knocked another arrow to his string. With a whoosh, the ravens flew off. Casey went forward, bow and arrow in hand. He looked now this way, then that, ready to shoot until he saw what appeared to be an extremely large dog. It was just lying there. Chapter 46. Neshoba heard Merla's last call, but did not understand what it meant. He knew only that she had not yet come back. Where was she? Had she left him? Given up on him? Whimpering quietly, the wolf lifted his head and sniffed. The scent of a human was strong, extremely close. Alarmed, he looked around. A human was standing in the rain, staring right at him. Trying to summon whatever strength he had, Neshoba waited for the human to draw near.